they also
Okay.
hate us? I wanted to ask that question.
Yeah, so this is a little difficult question to answer honestly. I'll have to be truthful. So Zenith, how did you like picked up biking? Pakistan, I believe, is a more conservative country than us.
If you were to ask somebody who's walking down the streets about India, वो आपको ये जवाब देगा, यार मेरे नाना ना वहाँ के थे, अमृतसर से थे, या मेरे जो दादा थे
Yeah.
वो लखनऊ के थे, तो आपको हमेशा कोई ना कोई ऐसा बंदा मिलेगा जो कनेक्शन ढूंढेगा.
नमस्कार, आपका स्वागत है मेरे पॉडकास्ट इंस्पायरिंगली योर्स के एक और नए एपिसोड में. आज के एपिसोड में हमारी गेस्ट हैं जेनिथ इरफान और उन्हें जाना जाता है एज द मोटरसाइकिल गर्ल ऑफ पाकिस्तान. इनफैक्ट ये कहना गलत नहीं होगा कि शी स्टार्टेड द कल्चर ऑफ फीमेल बाइकिंग इन पाकिस्तान. तो आइए बात करते हैं जेनिथ से अबाउट हर एक्सपीरियंसेस एज अ फीमेल बाइकर इन अ कंजर्वेटिव कंट्री लाइक पाकिस्तान. ऑल्सो बात करेंगे उनसे about my favorite topic, that is Pakistan. So let's begin. So in that sense, essentially India has done comparatively better. I mean, governments don't change overnight somehow. Matlab,
Yeah.
they change through a proper election, a democratic process. In that sense, India has done better. We have our issues, quite a lot of issues in fact, but then at least on these parameters of democracy being kicking and alive, we have done better than Pakistan. And not to show Pakistan in bad light, but this I think is something which Pakistan should work on. Matlab, governments can be good and bad, but jaisa bhi ho.
To be honest, if you ask me, मुझे people online also when जब मैं अपने रील के बारे में बात कर रही थी, about the raid I made on Kashmir, half of
I
the
saw that.
countries are fighting on it, like both countries are fighting, and मुझे बस एक बात थी that as a traveler I don't see any comparison, when we're comparing. Like India has such a rich history. I mean, it's so much diverse. There's more languages. There are more political systems over there. When people like you can't even compare a country that is so newly born like Pakistan with India. Like personally for me, वो comparison बनता नहीं है, because in my eye, India's like this huge superpower. It's like a giant country. It's like really there's so much going on there. But I guess because we came from the same subcontinent. And then, of course, a line was drawn in between.
I mean, we came from the same country. I mean, we are
Yeah.
quite literally the same country. Yeah.
Yes, so I think that's why we हमारे दिमाग में होते let's compare. हालांकि in my mind I don't see any comparison because I'm a traveler. I see everything as one. मेरे दिमाग में होते we all are one.
Yeah.
I wish there were no borders. So all of my travels have always focused on trying to find a common denominator rather than just finding ways to divide. एक ये बात है for sure.
True. That is definitely true. I mean, traveling definitely broadens your horizon in that sense. And you do realize कि end of the day culture अलग हो सकते हैं, languages अलग हो सकती हैं,
हाँ.
people might look different. But when you talk to somebody, you find यार ये अपने जैसे तो आदमी है, मतलब they think like us, they feel like us.
Exactly.
फर्क क्या है
जी.
इंसान, मतलब you travel to Ladakh and you find कि बिल्कुल अलग दिखते हैं, they don't look like us in like we look in Rajasthan, okay? But then इंसान वही है, मतलब उनके दुख दर्द वही हैं, उनकी मतलब आकांक्षाएं, एस्पिरेशन सब कुछ तो सेम ही है, मतलब इंसान के आखिर में लगता है. Then you feel like end of the day we are just all like same human beings.
Exactly.
You
And
understand?
I've always
Politics का अपनी
experienced the
जगह
same
है.
thing. Yes, जी.
पाकिस्तान एज आई सेड ऑलरेडी कि कल्चरली जितना पास है पॉलिटिकली उतना ही दूर है. तो हैं वो चैलेंजेस, पर अब क्या कर सकते हैं. तो कश्मीर तो आखिर ऐसा इशू है जो ना तो हम यहाँ पे रिजॉल्व कर पाएंगे, ना ही करने का हमारा अटेम्प्ट है. नीदर डू वी रिप्रेजेंट आवर कंट्रीज ऑफिशियली इन द सेंस कि दिस इज मोर लाइक दो इंसान आपस में बात कर रहे हैं. दिस इज नॉट रियली लाइक कि इंडिया और पाकिस्तान बात कर रहे हैं. So essentially, Zenith, how did you picked up biking? I mean, in the sense, Pakistan, I believe, is a more conservative country than us. Matlab, you can correct me if I'm wrong. And as a female biker, obviously, India mein there are quite a few female bikers. In fact, quite a lot of female bikers. But I'm sure कि पाकिस्तान में it would have been challenging. And so, how did this thought came about? And फिर आप?
Yes. I mean, Pakistan में I wouldn't say because so much has changed actually. यहाँ पर ना like when I was born and raised in Sharjah, so I came over here in 2007 when recession was
Yeah.
happening, हम लोग यहाँ तब आए थे. तो when I came here, I was around 13 years old, and I clearly remember कि उस वक्त it was conservative. I can say that yes, I remember I used to wear jeans, and जिस एरिया में हम रहते थे वहाँ पे बहुत अनकॉमन था to see girls wearing jeans.
Yeah.
But in front of my eyes, I've seen a drastic change in how people have adopted, you can say, Western values now. And I think it's all because of TikTok, because TikTok is one app in Pakistan that was really
Okay.
famous. यहाँ पर बहुत ज़्यादा TikTok ने boost दिया, and then comes Instagram and then Facebook. I think these three apps really changed the way how people have started living their lives. तो मेरे सामने ही now, if you go, there are so many cafes now. There's like Pakistan itself is so diverse. Like यहाँ पे हर किसी के अलग सोच है. तो आपको हाँ कहीं एक सड़क के किनारे में आपको एक मूवी भी मिलेगा, and then on the other hand you will see a modern girl like me riding a bike. So it's a mixture of both things. But yes, if you compare the numbers to India, there was no riding culture, woman riding culture in Pakistan. There was no such thing as like seeing a girl riding a bike when you're standing at the traffic light. It changed after I took the first trip. So you can say in a way that my brother and I were those you can say trigger points, और हम लोग थोड़ा से हमने trigger किया एक moment को यहाँ पे. तो when I picked up biking, I had no idea. मुझे तो कोई idea ही नहीं था कि यहाँ पे लड़कियाँ इतनी बाइक चलाती रही. There were no schools. I remember asking someone, is there a way to get a license? And there was no license. यहाँ पे जो traffic police department थी, they did not have an area where you could go as a woman to make a license. So it was very
Seriously,
yeah.
I mean, as a policy, do they don't give licenses, or is it like
No,
just because कोई
no,
मांगने नहीं आया आज
you
तक कभी
can't
तो?
ride. No, that policy is in
Okay.
Iran. So in Iran, you just cannot ride.
Okay.
मतलब वहाँ पे आपको license ही नहीं
Okay.
मिलता है. That's a law.
Okay.
Over here, there is no such thing as a law where you can't ride. It's just that generally, I don't know, but naturally लोग नहीं
Nobody
करते
goes.
हैं. Nobody just never did it. Like nobody ever did it. So there were a few bikers that I knew of before my trip that would just ride across the city. But then when I wanted to professionally see this, get into it, मुझे कोई as such नहीं मिला था a platform where I could just go and start learning. So of course I asked my brother to teach me how to ride, and उस वक्त I was going to college, and मुझे commute का बहुत मसला होता था. So my mother came up with this idea that why don't you just start riding bikes, because it's easier for you, and रिक्शे का इतना खर्चा नहीं होगा. It's easier.
It gives you a sense of freedom.
Yes,
You're not
freedom.
dependent on anything. Yeah.
हाँ एग्जैक्टली. तो फिर मेरे भाई ने मुझे यहाँ पे, आई लिव इन कैंट, तो यहाँ पे बहुत इजी है. यहाँ पे कुछ ज्यादा शोर नहीं है. इट्स वेरी अवे फ्रॉम द मेन सिटी. आई लिव वेरी फार अवे फ्रॉम द मेन लाहौर की, जो जहाँ बादशाह मॉस्क, उससे मैं काफी दूर रहती हूँ एक्चुअली. So I live in one of the secluded areas. तो यहाँ पर खुली सड़कें थी. It was easier for me to learn. And then of course when I went out there on the road, तो मुझे तो पता भी नहीं था that अच्छा why are people staring, is this a new thing. तो लोगों को हैरानगी होती थी कि अच्छा there's a girl on a bike. I mean that's so weird. I mean for them, even for the people, I wouldn't blame them, because वो इसलिए stare करते थे because no one's doing it in the first
It depends on the exposure that they've got. ना अगर उनको नहीं मिला exposure कभी तो you can't really blame them for that.
Yes, and then afterwards, of course, you have seen my rides. हमने ट्रिप लिया, और उसके बाद हर ट्रिप के बाद हम लोगों को न्यूज़ कवरेज मिली from CNN, BBC, even Indian news channels covered my story, and they said that hey, there's this girl, she's riding up in the mountains. Look at her story, and that's when the culture started adopting कि okay, now girls can ride. और अब तो बहुत लड़कियां करती हैं. Now they are like thousands, लाखों में अब तो तादाद हो गया. So I'm just giving you a summary that over the past few years, Pakistan is now seeing girls do ride over here now.
Nice. So what is it like to be like living in Pakistan? You lived in UAE, so in comparison, matlab, because we'd never been there. So what is the best part of being a Pakistani, and like what is the worst part of being a Pakistani?
I think the best part are the people. I mean, when I go up north, the way I'm treated and the way people receive me, I think this is something very common in Asians in general. मुझे लगता है साउथ ईस्ट एशियन के अंदर ये बड़ी कॉमन चीज है. वी आर वेरी हॉस्पिटेबल. आपको भी पता है इंडियंस आर, इवन नेपाली लोग हैं, बांग्लादेशी हैं, पाकिस्तानी, हम लोग सब मेहमान नवाज हैं. I mean आप कहीं भी चले जाए, people will open their doors for you. I think that's what I love about Pakistan is the
True.
fact that, and the geography, I mean, it's just so diverse.
Yeah.
You would see areas like Skardu जहाँ पर आपको river भी मिल रहा है, and then there's the cold desert, and then there's the Karakoram mountain range. So it's a mixture of both. I love the geography as a bike rider, you know. And of course,
Okay.
the downside would be, there you have to find opportunities to work over here because I'm a full-time traveler. So brands have now
Yeah.
started to pick up. Okay, like she is a bike
Yeah.
rider, so now we'll take her up as an ambassador. And I am an ambassador for a few companies at the moment, and I
Yeah.
have been working with big brands. Like I think that the challenge is mostly like work related. Oh, you just have to kind of like sell your story and tell others like I can be a good fit for your brand.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think there's
True.
pros and cons to every country. लेकिन it's a good experience. But
Yeah.
यूएई में तो of course it was a totally different thing ना. वो जो पूरा एक अरब country है, वहाँ पे आपकी schooling मेरी जो थी, it was very different. I used to study with children that were from India, from Bangladesh, from Lebanon. I had
Yeah.
Arab kids would like study with me. तो उसमें आपको ज़्यादा exposure मिलता है, I believe, living in the Middle
True.
East
True.
compared to
True.
Pakistan
Yeah.
here.
What is your best experience in terms of bike rides in Pakistan? Which place? Because I'm not even familiar with Pakistan's, name of the locations. I know Karachi, Islamabad, obviously, but not
हाँ,
really
yes.
the offbeat places where bikers go. So, like, if
Yeah.
somebody has to recommend a place, I mean, if you have to recommend a place to somebody, कौन सा है बेस्ट प्लेस
I
कौन सा है
think,
बाइकिंग के लिए मतलब बाइक ट्रिप के लिए
अच्छा, okay, so firstly, let me like familiarize you with the geography. I mean,
हाँ
we have like मैं पंजाब में रहती हूँ, ये लाहौर है, and I think जो यहाँ पे हमारा
ओके
सिख टूरिज्म के लिहाज से भी बहुत ज़्यादा religious tourism का
लाहौर इज
बहुत
प्रीटी
बड़ा
क्लोज
gap था.
टू द इंडियन बॉर्डर आई मीन
हाँ,
सो आई
it's
बीन
like
टू
same
द
as
वाघा
दिल्ली.
बॉर्डर सो हाँ
दिल्ली
हाँ
की तरह है,
एग्जैक्टली
दिल्ली
सो
जैसा है.
yeah
Yes,
yeah
तो
so
उसकी
I
तरह है,
went to
and
Wagha border so the
अच्छा,
milestone
you
said
did.
hardly like 30-40 kilometers I don't know how much I can't remember exactly and I was like इतना पास है क्या इतना पास है क्या
हाँ, it's very close,
okay
and it's very
yeah
very similar to Delhi. I mean, जो मैंने
yeah
तस्वीरें देखी, it's the same thing, same streets, and architecture भी same है. Layout of the entire city is very similar.
yeah
मैं तो लाहौर में रहती हूँ, the capital of Punjab, and उसके बाद this is like the main city. But then of course we have provinces like we have Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Balochistan है, Sindh है, गिलगित बल्तिस्तान है, तो जिन एरियाज में मैं ट्रैवल करती हूँ वो ज़्यादा गिलगित बल्तिस्तान के एरियाज है, विच वी से नॉर्दर्न एरियाज ऑफ
okay
पाकिस्तान जिसको हम कहते हैं. वहाँ
okay
पर यू विल फाइंड प्लेसेस लाइक स्कर्दू. इफ यू फेमिलियर विद K2, द सेकंड हाईएस्ट माउंटेन, you will be familiar with Skardu because
yeah
Skardu से रास्ता जाता है to K2,
okay
वहाँ से जाता है. So
okay
I believe, like for me, the best place to ride is in Baltistan region, which I can say for somebody who's an Indian listening to me, the border towards Kargil वाला जो border वाला areas है, they're
okay
very 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 it's the same thing, like same geography है. In India there is a village called Olding के नाम से एक जगह है, वो हमारे विलेज को
okay
रखता है इधर स्कर्दू में. तो जो वहाँ की ज्योग्राफी यहाँ की पोर्ट सिमिलर है. मैंने एक इंडियन बाइकर की वीडियो देखी थी एंड आई वाज लाइक दिस लाइक स्कर्दू, ये तो बिल्कुल वैसा है,
okay
एंड उसने दिखाया था कि हमारा वाला साइड है, एंड आई वाज लाइक वाओ, आई मीन दैट वाज such a moving video for me. So as a biker, I think my favorite place to ride is in Baltistan region, only because I told you like earlier, I love the mixture of everything in one plate, the river, the sea, no, not the sea, of course, the river, the
yeah
mountains, and the desert. I love
yeah
that mixture, so it's my favorite place. Yeah.
okay fantastic. So, I mean, if you talk about India and Pakistan, what is in
Yeah.
like an average Pakistani? What does the average Pakistani thinks of India? Because whatever we get to hear is like Pakistani politicians making some stupid comments all the time. Okay, so एक आदमी normal road पे street पे घूमता हुआ, मतलब randomly if you pick somebody and ask him what are your thoughts on India, so मतलब what would be their thoughts? Do they hate us? Do they
I
love
think the
us?
first
They are
no.
somewhere in
I think the
between. I
first
don't
thought
know.
would be like we would love to come to India. I think the first like my friends, I was planning to come to India myself. Like I was like, hey, I think you might have Violence by Abrar jo tha. He was the only biker who
Hmm.
came to India, and he's a Pakistani, but he had a German
Yeah,
passport,
yeah,
so he could come in here. So
yeah,
I mean, the first reaction
yeah,
of all of us is like how we wish to come to, like how we
yeah.
want to come to, how we like. One of my biggest dreams is to see the Amritsar Golden Temple. My mom has been to India 3 to 4
Okay,
times now. I think she has been to India
okay,
multiple times, and if you were to ask somebody who's walking down the streets about India, वो आपको ये जवाब देगा, यार मेरे नाना ना वहाँ के थे, अमृतसर से थे, या मेरे जो दादा थे
हाँ
वो लखनऊ के थे. तो आपको हमेशा कोई ना कोई ऐसा बंदा मिलेगा जो कनेक्शन ढूंढेगा, वो कहेगा यार मेरी
जी
दादी की जमीन अभी भी उधर है. तो आपको ये
जी
रिस्पॉन्स मिलेगा. इट्स वेरी नॉस्टैल्जिक. पीपल आर वेरी नॉस्टैल्जिक. एंड आई हैव नेवर कम अक्रॉस समबडी जिसने मुझे बोला वी हेट इंडिया. ये सारे ऑनलाइन कमेंट्स होते हैं, ट्रस्ट मी. It's all online. I
समझ
have
भी नहीं
never
आता इनके पीछे
come
लोग कौन.
across. I don't know
मतलब
where these
एग्जैक्टली
people
मतलब
are
आपको
born, honestly.
फेस टू फेस यू नेवर फाइंड देम. एंड आई मीन एंड
Yes,
लाइक इंटरनेट पे वो इतने हैं कि बस पूछो मत, समझ भी नहीं आता कहाँ से आ जाते हैं. बट हाँ,
I
ये जो
don't know
आपने बात कही
exactly.
ना कि आई वाज टॉकिंग टू
Yeah.
दिस, आई वाज टॉकिंग टू दिस, आपके पाकिस्तान में, मैं नाम भूल रहा हूँ उनका भी समहाउ, वो पोइट हैं काफी फेमस. आई थिंक आई टोल्ड यू ही वाज ऑन आवर पॉडकास्ट. he was to, I mean he confirmed, then later on अभी तक शूट नहीं हो पाया, somehow he's busy, मशरूफ हैं थोड़े वो भी.
अच्छा.
बाकी उनसे बात हुई मेरी फोन पे 2-3 बार. सो ही वाज आल्सो टॉकिंग अबाउट कि आप हिंदुस्तान में कहाँ से हैं, तो मैंने कहा जयपुर से. तो इज लाइक मेरे जो
हाँ.
उनके नाना नानी हैं वो अजमेर से हैं, और अजमेर में वो अजमेर शरीफ वो आए थे, और पहले कभी 15-20 साल
In
पहले, तो
Rajasthan,
वही
yeah.
किस्से जैसे आपने कहा एग्जैक्टली इन राजस्थान. So, and he actually went to his, ancestral place. He actually found it and went to that house and all that he did. So, exactly, because stories तो वही है ना. मतलब I know a lot of Punjabis friends of mine जो partition के time पाकिस्तान से आए थे, and they have their
जी
stories
जी.
कि ऐसे
There are
ऐसे हवेलियां
many.
थी, यहाँ थी, वहाँ थी. They could never go back. So दिस इज व्हाट इट इज. अभी क्या कर सकते हैं इस मामले में. ये तो वो कहते हैं ना, मसले हैं जो बियॉन्ड आवर कैपेसिटी एंड
Exactly. I
नॉट
mean,
फॉर
as a मैंने
अस
भी
टू.
बताया, as a traveler, my focus is not के what the politicians are saying, what the news is saying. That's why I always say, please look at our videos. आप हमारी videos देखिए. This is the true Pakistan जो हम represent कर रहे हैं. These are true Pakistanis. I mean, in every video, I've always given a message. के as a female, as a Muslim, I'm riding in these areas. I'm not unsafe at all, because पाकिस्तान में एक कॉमन क्वेश्चन जो मुझे लोग पूछते हैं, ऑफ कोर्स, वो इज लाइक, इज इट सेफ, एज अ वुमन, आर यू सेफ? एंड आई एम लाइक,
ऑफ
इट्स
कोर्स
इवन सेफर देन द सिटी, बिकॉज द पीपल ऑफ द माउंटेन्स आर very simple. They're not very complex like us.
या
They just, they go
ट्रू.
to their farm, they work, they come back, and they live a very simple life. So I believe ke I have learned so many lessons from them. तो इसलिए, I mean, anyone who's watching our podcast, मैं इसको recommend करूँगी कि आप जाके videos देखें, मेरी देख लें, या किसी और की, you will understand
जी
कि
हाँ,
it's a
बिल्कुल
very
बिल्कुल
different
जी.
picture.
हाँ,
I wanted to, do they also
ओके.
hate us? I wanted to ask that question.
Yes, so this is a little difficult question to answer honestly. मतलब I'll have to be truthful. So I know a lot of people who do hate Pakistan, okay, for reasons best known to them.
Yeah.
I mean, not because, and I'll not really blame them. It is more on the propaganda that is being pushed out, through
I totally
channels and news
understand.
channels. And end
Yeah.
of the day, it's all about exposure. So they will think of somebody from whatever information they get. And not everybody is as इतना समझदार और इंटेलिजेंट हर आदमी नहीं है कि वो सोर्सेज को वेरीफाई कर सके,
हाँ,
खुद इंफॉर्मेशन
totally.
को एनालाइज कर सके, चेक कर सके कि व्हाट इज ट्रू, व्हाट इज फॉल्स, व्हाट इज प्रोपेगेंडा, व्हाट इज रियल न्यूज. सो नॉट एवरीबडी इज दैट कैपेबल एंड दैट स्मार्ट. तो ऑफ कोर्स न्यूज चैनल्स प्ले देयर पार्ट, government plays their part, and then there are certain stupid comments which actually come from your side which are true also. So that sort of gives
Yeah,
validity
yeah.
to what
Everyone's
people
playing
believe.
the game. हाँ, I
But
totally get it.
everybody's playing the game. But then yes, a lot of rational people don't. I mean, most of them. One thing that has changed, जो कि पिछले 8-10 साल में change हुई है, it's a palpable change, जो कि मैं मतलब I can see it, is Pakistan does not appear in our conversations as much as it used to be. मतलब when we were
There's been a
kids, I mean,
change.
like I am like 38, okay, and so say 10 years back, Pakistan was part of our daily conversations. Unlike on daily basis, something good or bad or ugly, somebody would appreciate Pakistan, somebody will sort of criticize Pakistan, but Pakistan would be part of our conversations. In the last 8-10 years, somehow we have moved past Pakistan. So
That's
not
good.
in, so it doesn't matter now. So whether you essentially we don't really criticize either, because अभी वो निकल गए उससे आगे. Somehow the country has moved on. We have, especially after Modi coming as the prime minister, The focus is
Hmm.
on economic growth and
Also, I
improving
have to
the
congratulate you all on going to reaching the moon.
the
Like
moon.
I'm so
Yeah,
happy
so
for
we
you
did.
all. You guys did that.
And that's, I
I
believe,
understand the feeling
that's,
that felony baat hai
yeah,
jab.
yeah, absolutely. It's gives you a sense of pride like nothing else. I mean,
Yeah,
to
I
be amongst the
congratulated
top
India
three,
और
four
मैंने
nations
क्या
in the world
पूछा?
to have done it. Yeah.
Yes, I
So,
am
I
so
mean,
happy for you
hardly
all.
three, four countries
Honestly.
have done it so far. And I mean, the first one
Yes.
to do it on the South Pole. So, that is definitely a technological, achievement. And
Yes,
उसके अलावा भी
definitely.
बहुत कुछ है, honestly. 8-10 साल में, people might think of Modi, जो भी वो चाहे जो, मतलब, and there are people who hate him, without a doubt. And I have my own issues with Modi. ऐसा नहीं है कि I like, support him on all issues. But yes, he definitely, without doubt, has जो पेस ऑफ डेवलपमेंट एंड ग्रोथ जो उसने मतलब एक्सेलरेट किया है, एंड with a very strong control on corruption, there's almost no corruption currently happening at the central government level, at least, or action oriented government hai, like moving things really fast. So that credit he deserves, without a doubt. Or somehow, when everybody is busy about growth and
Yeah, definitely.
prosperity and development in science and technology and sports, तो somehow वो पाकिस्तान वाला कॉन्वर्जेशन बेचारा कहीं पीछे रह जाता है. मतलब अभी suddenly it's not about, nobody wants to engage with Pakistan, not in a sense that we don't like Pakistan, but also in the sense that somehow there is a feeling that we can do without Pakistan. Not a
Yeah.
great feeling to have, obviously not a good feeling to have for a neighbor, but somehow that is the feeling that we just move on. So we, I believe, were like stuck with Pakistan in that sense, in our like mind spaces for
I
quite
totally
long.
got you.
Every day, every news channel will talk about Pakistan. Every two people will sit on a chai ki tapri and they will still talk about Pakistan. Somehow, matlab, it was like part of our daily conversations on, day in and day out. Now, no, that's not the case. No, that is not the case. If you talk about, the conversation is more about India China. It's about, whether they are doing better or we are doing better in terms of economic growth, or other issues. We have our border issues with China. So the conversation is more on India and China, not on India and Pakistan. It used to be on India and Pakistan. Now it is India and China. So
Ah,
even if we are, say, comparing ourselves, we are comparing ourselves with China, not really with Pakistan. So, and sort of, the
that
debate is on that. So that keeps our TV channels and
that's
everybody
new.
else busy.
मुझे I never knew. So that's news for me. मैंने आपसे पहली दफा
Hmm.
ये सुना. That the change you all, and
ये
I'm very
ये ये
happy
आठ दस साल का चेंज है.
that you're
ये
talking
आठ
about.
दस साल का चेंज है, विदाउट अ डाउट.
Yes, I think it's
एंड
just मैंने जैसे बताया ना, social media really helps you educate. Like there are cons to it, but then
ऑफ
of
कोर्स.
course it
Yeah,
connects people, and then you are more aware of things, and you can do a civil conversation with someone. I believe.
of
So
course.
I totally
And that's how it should be.
yes,
Conversations need to remain civil always. And end of the
yeah,
day, it is not for us to resolve Kashmir. I mean, we are not in the capacity, and we are not in the mood also. So that's not our job. But as a human to human, we can always talk, and we should.
yes, yes, of course.
Yeah,
So I'm really happy. Honestly, I am for the country.
yeah. So yeah, that is something which I am also happy about. I mean, I have seen the previous governments as well, and I think India is in the right hands with Modi,
Yeah.
and I think he's here to stay. He has his own issues, of course. He's a little autocratic, this and that. People have a lot of complaints with him as well. But if you have to get things done, you have to be a little autocratic. I mean, you can't really build consensus on everything, because otherwise तो फिर action होता ही नहीं है ना. It's like paralysis by analysis वाली situation हो जाती है. You just keep talking and talking and
Hmm.
talking and doing nothing. So I'll have to give him that sort of leeway and credit कि ठीक है यार, करो जो भी, as long as by and large you are performing well. I don't really care about small issues, and we have sort of moved past a lot of other issues as well, जो कि बचपन से हम देख
Yeah.
रहे थे. Article 370 was one of them in Kashmir. Ram Temple was one. These were issues. I'm 38, and since I was born, like these were like our daily conversations. The country was stuck with Ram Temple, बनेगा या नहीं बनेगा. The country was stuck कि कश्मीर में ऐसा है, कश्मीर में वैसा है, Article 370 रहेगा. And somehow these guys came and they like overnight कल से सब कुछ change होने वाला है, ठीक है. And yes, थोड़ा बहुत ड्रामा हुआ, but end of the day everything is in control now. And that is precisely when you can move beyond, you know when you can think of development and you can think of other more important things. If if these things, say a Babri masjid or a say Ram temple issue or the Kashmir issue, article 370, अगर सारे दिन आपका दिमाग इसी में ऑक्यूपाइड रहेगा तो आप डेवलपमेंट और साइंटिफिक प्रोग्रेस और उन सब चीजों की बात कर
Yeah,
ही नहीं
I
सकते ना.
agree.
हाँ,
I
सारे दिन
totally
उसी
agree
में
with
बिजी रहोगे आप.
that.
अब सडनली वो थोड़ा बहुत, अब जब नाउ इट इज ओवर विद, सो वी हैव mind space availability and time and energy to focus on the
Yes.
right things. So that is something
Yes.
that we are doing right. uh, in that sense I believe Pakistan can learn quite a bit from us on those parameters at least. उसके अलावा ऑफ कोर्स एज अ कंट्री वी हैव आवर ओन इश्यूज, वो हर कंट्री में रहते हैं. वी आर मच बिगर कंट्री, सो वी हैव अ लॉट मेनी मोर इश्यूज इन दैट सेंस, बट देन वी
And
आर लाइक.
actually, I did study their Indian map. मतलब मैंने देखा था where every province is, and it was really interesting to
या,
see the different
so
geography
in
of the
India
world.
mein the diversity is like is much
Yeah,
more as compared
not
to. So you get the cold deserts, you get the real deserts, you get of course the beaches, you get the mountains, and you have possibly all kind of geographical terrains that you can ask for or you can think of in the planet. We have,
exactly.
so
So this
like
this is why
really
it is.
glaciers, everything is there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I said this is why this every biker's का एक ख्वाब होता है ना कि you want to one day ride across India. What
exactly,
Abrar did was
exactly.
amazing. I mean, I
So I've
think
met a
I wish I would do something like that, like what Abrar did. Like he was able to ride across the
if you
almost all major areas. So इसलिए it was really something for मतलब biker मेरा एक goal है
Yeah.
inshallah
So
that I
if you
will.
manage to get a like visa and come in, then there aren't really any restrictions as such. Of course, you can't go to like border areas and defense sensitive areas. So that
Yeah,
applies to
yeah.
us as well. But other than that, if you get a visa and you land in India, then like the whole of the country is open to you. You can go wherever you want. It's just like that.
It
So
is
it's
it
just
is
about
in my
getting the visa.
bucket list. I
Yeah.
I do hope to come
Yeah.
one day,
So
inshallah. Yes.
do let us know. I mean, do let me know if you travel to this part of. I live in Rajasthan, so that is like Jaipur, and I worked in Delhi for quite 10-12 years. I moved to my native place, that is in Rajasthan now. Deserts, you get it here, and then of course you go up there. There's Kashmir and Himachal, and all those mountainous terrain. You go
Yeah.
to like east, there's West Bengal, and then again Arunachal and all. So again mountain, and then West Bengal and all is it's a different um culture in the sense that it is much like Bangladesh. So again,
Yeah.
so that culture, so that is the beauty. So you travel one country and you probably will feel like that you have traveled say maybe eight
Traveling
ten
many
countries
countries.
in one
I
place.
can
I
imagine.
have heard this from a lot of foreigners who travel to India and who I meet. They are like it's like traveling to 10 different countries in. So that is why they stay here for like 20 days, 30 days, months, 2 months, because they are getting to explore new and new things.
Mm.
So that is the beauty of uh, being in India. So do come. I can't really help you with the visa, so that's beyond my powers. But
Inshallah,
other
हम
than that,
आएंगे.
yeah, you're most welcome. Other than that, you're most welcome. Um, uh, so, any bad experiences while like riding in Pakistan? Any sort of
No, not
cultural
really.
issues or anything?
Honestly,
Yeah, not really.
I think I definitely did go through a culture shock. Like culture shock नहीं
Okay.
होता. Like I mean, I
Uh,
believe like it was for me shocking to see that there is so much to see in Pakistan. Like because an average Pakistani only knows about in Islamabad है, मतलब कराची है, एंड उसके बाद
yep.
लाहौर है. ज़्यादा लोगों को दूसरे एरियाज का पता नहीं होता. So इसलिए for me, I also used to think, oh, Pakistan is only these major cities, but then there's so much more to explore. I think the only bad experiences I have ever had was when it comes to my vehicle. Like sometimes there were times when my
That's
vehicle,
like
my
okay.
bike breaks down. But I never came across an experience where I would be like, okay, it's so bad over here, I'm not gonna come back again. Yeah. And yes, the
Mhm.
second challenge is the weather. Like I hate rain. As a biker,
Yep.
मुझे मेरी घबराहट
Okay.
होती है.
Yeah.
But other than that,
Yeah.
I never faced any challenge whatsoever. I think this comes with riding bikes. Like you will come across
Yeah.
bad weather
True.
and something happened to your bike. So it's like now by default, I know I have to face these problems. Yeah.
That's the life of a biker. I mean, that's precisely
Yeah.
why we love biking. I mean, you love biking, and I love it to be
Yes.
maybe a lesser extent because of the unexpectedness of it, and you
Yes.
don't really know what's going to come your way, and that's precisely the beauty of it. The moment it becomes predictable, then there's no fun. So,
Exactly.
and
Yes.
of course, and that is precisely the difference between traveling by a car and a bike, because you are exposed to the weather, to the elements of the weather. Otherwise फिर तो
Yes.
कार
It's
ट्रिप
a
ही कर लो ना, अगर आपको
360.
कवर्ड होके चलना है तो. Yeah, so that is precisely
Yeah.
the beauty of it, of course. And bike trips without doubt are therapeutic. They sort of heal you. So hey, मतलब उसका, my wife wants me to sort of always take a car, because she doesn't really like to join me on a bike ride. बट देन समहाउ मेरा शौक है बाइक लेके निकलने का, सो
हाँ.
हमारे थोड़े इश्यूज होते रहते हैं उस मैटर को लेके. एंड एवरी टाइम डू अ बाइक राइड, आई डू अ बाइक ट्रिप, आई हैव टू सॉर्ट ऑफ आल्सो डू अ कार ट्रिप टू कंपनसेट फॉर दैट विद हर. सो दैट इज being married. You married?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay. So
I mean, I always had different priorities, I believe,
yeah.
यहाँ पे. But there is this culture
Fair
of
enough. Yeah.
you
Fair.
have to get married before a certain age. I think it's there everywhere
Okay.
in Southeast Asia, I
That's
feel.
changing here in India, at least. I mean, of course, it was here. I mean, I've seen it, and but this current generation, at least,
It's
and I'm
changing.
not
It's
really
changing in
from some,
Pakistan also.
I'm not really
I
from
have
some
so
old
many
age,
friends. Yeah.
but yeah, if you, I have so many friends who are like well past their 35 and still
Same.
not married. So
Same.
yeah, so
Yes.
there are people who are not getting married, and somehow it's working for them, good for them. But yeah, while I was young, I mean, 30 was kind of the cutoff, sort of the expiry date, so to say, कि ना भाई 30 के हो गए तो कर लो, otherwise फिर वो होता है ना आपकी expiry date निकल जाएगी टाइप करके. So I married at 28. I've been like married for 10 years now.
अच्छा,
And
I am
just to,
28 right now. I feel the pressure. अब थोड़ा सा मुझे feel होता है. It's only because some of my friends have started to getting married now. वो 30 के हैं, कोई
of
31
course.
का है.
Hmm.
लेकिन I think women in Pakistan are very strong. Like मैं आपको, if I have to give you an image, I remember reading a comment somewhere where, can you tell me, some Western, first some American guy was asking me more about women in Pakistan, and he told me this
Okay.
one thing, is that he never saw a Pakistani woman on a bike, riding like this. So for him, it was a shock because he assumed that
Yeah.
Pakistan is a very closed country, oppressed country. यहाँ की औरतें बड़ी
Yeah.
बुर्का पहन के जाती होंगी. And I was like, no, we are not like
Nothing.
that at all. Like, I mean, they have a very, यहाँ पर बहुत मुख्तलिफ सोच है अब. Like, women are pursuing their careers.
Yeah.
The company that I am currently brand ambassador of is like a tire company, and its CEO is a woman,
Yeah.
and she's the CEO of a tire company.
Okay.
Even I assumed it was gonna be
Yeah.
a guy when I
Yeah.
entered their meeting room, but she was a
Yeah.
young woman, and I was surprised. I was like, wow. I mean, so you can see the change. So yes, of course, the pressure
Things
is there,
definitely are
societal
changing.
pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but things are changing. Yes.
Yeah, things are definitely changing. I believe. Uh, so is it. I mean, here in India, I mean, I've seen.
Yeah.
Uh, I think our. I don't know about Pakistan, so I can't really compare the two as such. But in India, the pace of change has accelerated a lot. I mean, uh, obviously, change has always been there. हमें लगता है कि हमारी ही दुनिया में चीज चेंज हुए हैं, ऐसा नहीं है. मतलब प्रीवियस जनरेशंस हैड देयर शेयर ऑफ चेंज. तो आप दादा से पूछोगे तो उनकी दुनिया अलग थी, अपने फादर्स की दुनिया अलग थी, हमारी अलग है. But what is
हाँ,
different
exactly.
is the pace of change has accelerated. I mean, what used to change in 20 years is now changing in 3 years. So
It's
somehow,
the
I
same
mean,
here. I feel ये
yeah,
इधर भी ऐसा है. मतलब मैंने खुद देखा है.
yeah,
जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था जब मैं 13 साल की थी, and now I'm 28. तो it has, like, मैंने आपको वही, that's what I was trying to explain. Like, things
yeah.
are really changing fast, and I really have to say it's because of media. Like, मैं तो सब media को credit देती हूँ.
हाँ हाँ, social media primarily, because
Yeah, I think that people have changed the way they think. It's the thinking has changed. Like, also ये मुझे feeling आती है. I'm sure it must be the same in India.
yeah,
Like, I totally agree with you because it's the
absolutely,
same here.
yeah,
So वो same wave है,
yeah.
एक यहाँ पर all across the subcontinent. Yes.
Of course, matlab, I have seen like a time when we were, matlab, I come from a village, matlab, I live in Jaipur and I lived in Delhi, but my upbringing was in my like village, not even a village, it's small little hamlet, you used to call it, maybe, where
Yeah, yeah,
my extended family used to live. And yes, I have seen people preferring boy child over a girl child. I have seen people
yeah.
differentiating between, preferring a to send a boy to school and sort of not sending a girl to school and all that, वो practically देखा है मैंने बचपन में. And this is what, like,
Mm.
25 years back. Suddenly today it's just not the case. There's
Yeah.
almost no, and I would
Yes.
like say no differentiation between a girl and a boy. I mean, they are
Exactly.
treated with respect and fairness, and that change to come in like just 25 years is marvelous. Something like which could not happen over centuries. I mean, it happened just in like last 25 years, primarily because somehow the people got exposure, as you said, through social media. They
Education.
saw that,
Yeah.
education, things have
Yeah.
changed for the better without a doubt, and we hope they keep changing for the better. That's
Yes.
the hope, and without a doubt. So as you told me, Pakistanis don't hate Indians as such, which is good to know. uh, so what is like our image in Pakistan? Like, if you guys think of Indians, what do you think of? Like, we guys are smart, or we guys are good. As in, like, I'm not being able to frame my question properly. So maybe, and as I can, you can see my fumbling in that. But my question is, like, when you think of Indians, like, what comes to your mind?
When I think of India, for me, like I told you, like if you just ask me individually, because I'll be honest with you, मैं हर
Yeah.
पाकिस्तानी के लिए जवाब नहीं दे सकती हूँ.
Of
मेरी
course, yeah. Of
मेरी
course, yeah.
मेरी अपब्रिंगिंग, मेरा एक्सपोजर, मेरा एजुकेशन बहुत मुख्तलिफ है from an average person. I was
True.
lucky,
Yeah.
and alhamdulillah, I've had many other opportunities जो maybe कोई average लड़की या लड़के को ना मिलती हो. If you
True.
ask me, like I have one of my very good friends is in India. He lives in Mumbai. He does
Okay.
automotive photography. उसका नाम Anis है. And like I have
Okay.
such, like my memory of an Indian has been like my school friends. Like
True.
my friends in school, and my friends online. So it's like for me it's different. But if
Yeah.
you were to ask the general I will emotion, definitely we view you guys as an smart people, intelligent people. You guys are growing. I think so many of my friends were so happy when you guys landed on the moon. I posted a story, like I said,
Yeah.
hey, congratulations India,
Yeah.
on my Instagram. Like like I gave out a message to everyone because I have Indian followers. एक और बात है, मैं आपको बताना चाहती हूँ that मुझे ना इंडिया से बहुत
Yeah.
मोहब्बत मिलती है. Like I've had an
Yeah.
amazing this bunch of people
Yeah.
that follow me because it's like of course
Yeah.
the most populated country, तो कुछ billions में से कुछ जो
Of
thousands
course.
में वो मुझे जो
Exactly.
follow करते हैं जो
Yeah.
छोटे से लोग हैं,
That
they're
advantage we
amazing.
have, मतलब
Yeah.
इंडिया में, मतलब आई एम श्योर इतने इतने, मतलब इफ यू आर एन इंडियन, दैट नेचुरल एडवांटेज यू गेट बिकॉज वी आर अ कंट्री ऑफ लाइक 125 crore people, 140 crore people. So suddenly if say there is a Siberian on social media, वो बेचारा इतना सा तो कंट्री है, उसमें इतने से लोग होंगे सोशल मीडिया पे, वो कितने फॉलोअर गेन कर लेगा, स्पेशली इफ ही इज क्रिएटिंग कंटेंट इन हिज नेटिव लैंग्वेज. I mean, if we create content in
Yes.
Hindi, then we are like 140 crore people. समझ रहे हो ना? तो मतलब we
Exactly.
can easily, the kind of scales we can achieve, practically no other country has that advantage.
So I've had that small share of the pie. मतलब I've had some
Yeah,
followers from India, and they're like always
yeah,
commenting things like hey, I mean, this is such a beautiful place. There's a very loyal follower of mine.
mm,
Like he has seen all of my videos. अभी मैंने recently एक video डाली थी Shimshal Valley की. So this is like this valley who's secluded in the
yeah,
Karakoram mountain range, and they're known for the Wakhi tribe, and he was so amazed by it. He was like, I'm just every day I watch one
yeah.
of your videos. I just wish to ride here, and it's the same emotion for me. Like every day I watch a video of an Indian biker riding somewhere, I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
I wish to come here. I know actually a lot about Rajasthan because I was exposed to Rajasthan through films, and through
Okay.
Indian films. And यहाँ पर हम लोग बहुत Indian movies and गानों के ना दीवाने हैं. अरिजीत सिंह से लेकर सोनू
हाँ, वो तो
निगम
मैंने
तक, तो
देखा.
यहाँ पे हमारा बड़े
देखा.
फैन फॉलोइंग है. जैसे आतिफ असलम इंडियन लोग पसंद है.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the
India
same
popular
thing.
है, yeah.
तो
In that
ये
sense, I
इमोशन
should also tell
बैकग्राउंड
you that,
इमोशनली
like,
पता कनेक्ट.
I find Pakistan's Coke studio better than India's, without a doubt. Okay, so that is true. मतलब somehow मुझे लगता है कि यार better है वो अभी. Other than that, I mean, I might get hate for saying this, but Pakistan's Coke studio is better than India's. Tehzeeb Hafi is one of my favorite poets. He writes amazing. I don't know if you know him, but Tehzeeb Hafi मेरा favorite है. अदर देन दैट, ऑफ कोर्स, एक मूवी देखी थी मैंने काफ़ी पहले, पाकिस्तानी मूवी, हालांकि पाकिस्तानी मूवीज ऐसे मैंने ज़्यादा देखी नहीं है, बट खुदा के लिए करके एक मूवी थी. It was like
Oh
released
yes.
long back,
हाँ,
maybe
शहे मंसूर.
2008 or something. Yeah, yeah. That
Yeah,
was
that's
amazing. That was amazing. अभी recently एक series देखी थी मैंने, वो मैं नाम भूल रहा हूँ यार उसका. I have this habit of forgetting names. It's a very nice series. अभी मैं नाम ही भूल गया उसका. It's a single word name. अभी मेरे दिमाग से निकल रहा है. So I found that series to be very. I believe your content, that is like your OTT series and all, are far more grounded as compared to
the
Indian
dramas, I
content.
believe.
हाँ,
हाँ, I think the dramas, हमारे ड्रामा अच्छे हैं. हमारी फिल्म इंडस्ट्री स्ट्रगल कर रही है. So there was a
हम्म,
film made on my life, I'm motorcycle girl.
हाँ,
एक आप वो मूवी भी देखे.
okay,
I think that movie
okay,
movie was very different. हमारी ना फिल्म इंडस्ट्री बड़ी बेबी स्टेज पर है. You cannot even compare it to
okay,
Bollywood. It's like Bollywood's like a
yeah,
proper industry. आप तो कर ही
yeah,
नहीं
true,
सकते,
true,
तो इट्स लाइक कि यहाँ पर मैं मतलब कि हम ड्रामों में अच्छे हैं. आई एग्री, वी आर गुड विद सीरीज, वी आर गुड विद ड्रामास. वी काइंड ऑफ
yeah,
स्ट्रगलिंग विद फिल्म, बट वी आर गुड विद म्यूजिc. And I personally have
mm.
seen so many series. I mean, my favorite are Sacred Games. Currently, I'm watching Kala Pani. It's on Netflix. It's an Indian web series,
Kala
तो
Pani, okay. I haven't seen
Kala
it,
Pani
but
TV
yeah,
series है, and they all are Indian.
okay,
It's available on Netflix, so like we binge watch a lot of
okay,
stuff. So I mean, so इसमें ये है कि yes, of course, but I believe there are two things that unite us is art and travel. I mean, ये दो चीजें mediums हैं from where you can
yeah,
share the common denominator, like I was talking about earlier. Like you can speak more about unity rather than division, hate, which is often
division, true,
propagated on
true, yeah,
media. So इसलिए I always love it when someone tells me like we love this of yours, and I'm like I love this song, या ये series है जो मैं देख रही हूँ,
yeah.
या ये actor है जो मुझे पसंद है. तो शाहरुख खान का तो वर्ल्ड वाइड सारे ही फैन है. शाहरुख
खैर
खान
खैर
लाइक
उसके तो वर्ल्ड वाइड फैन है, ऑब्वियसली, आई एम श्योर. आई
ऑनेस्टली. हाँ,
सॉ कपल ऑफ वीडियोस में आप लोग जो मीम भी डालते हो ना, मतलब वो मीम एसेंशियली इंडियन मूवीज की क्लिप्स होती हैं. एंड आई रियलाइज कि हाँ, मतलब इवेंचुअली इफ यू टू
हाँ
फाइंड अ
वो
मीम
है,
यू हैव टू
ये
गो
तो
टू
नॉर्मल है.
इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट. या नॉर्मल है.
यस.
इनफैक्ट ये जो अभी आप वीडियो की बात कर रहे थे, जो अभी आपने रिसेंटली डाला है अबाउट दिस
ये
शम्श,
शिमशाल की,
विच, हाँ,
शिमशाल
so I
वैली.
when I Shamshan Valley, when I also saw that अभी recently today only. So there's a shot जैसे आपकी बाइक जा रही है वहां पे, and as soon as I saw that shot, even I was like, yeah, this is beautiful, man. मतलब this place is beautiful. समझ रहे हो ना? So
या
that suddenly एक आता है ना, एक आपको suddenly एक feeling आती है कि यार this is so
या
beautiful. वो वाली feeling आई थी वो shot देखते ही मेरे को भी, and it reminded me of like Ladakh on our side,
लद्दाख.
Ladakh in
हाँ.
Ladakh on our side, yeah. So I'd like travel to Ladakh. So suddenly एकदम से exactly similarities I could see
It is
there.
similar geography. They do
It
share
is
the
similar
similar
things.
geography.
Fantastic. So thank you, yaar. That is all from my side. Honestly, can't really think of any new question as such. So B, if there's anything you want to talk about, we can talk. I mean, if there's any question on your mind, please feel free. So any of your thoughts on like how is your government doing? मतलब अभी ये जो आपका political scenario चल रहा है, इस पे how do you feel about it? अभी हो क्या रहा है? मतलब we don't know. Imran Khan is not a prime minister, that we know. बाकी अभी,
हाँ,
so
not.
should we expect elections or should we not expect elections, or अभी how is it
Actually,
gonna be?
I'll be honest with you. I am not a
Oh,
politician, so the only comment I can give is
okay,
like honestly, even I'm not aware of what's really happening. But of course, I think elections हो रहे हैं. We are scheduled for general
okay,
elections in February, you know. And other
nice.
than that, I don't want to give any political comment, but because that's not
हाँ,
my
नहीं, perfectly, yeah.
job to like,
That's not
that's not
that's not
my
what we are
position.
here for. Obviously, that's not what we are here
Yes,
for.
of course.
I mean, as I
But
said,
one
we are not here.
message, for sure, मैं एक जरूर बात करना चाहती हूँ. I think the one
हाँ,
message I
बिल्कुल.
would like to give to an Indian person rather than
Yeah,
a Pakistani is because, of course, this
yeah,
podcast Indian. तो वो ये है, I definitely would say if you have ever a certain stereotype or एक thought होती है that might have come to your mind about my country, where I am from, I definitely would want you to either मैं अपना वीडियो प्रमोट करने के लिए नहीं कह रही हूँ. either go watch my video,
yeah,
go watch Wildlands by Abrar की series on when he came to
yeah,
India, and आप जरा इरफान
yeah,
जुनेजो को जाके देखिए, उसकी कंटेंट देखें, मुरू का देखें. These are all Pakistani content creators that will show you the true image of my country. And
yeah.
similarly,
True.
like if somebody wants to know what a Pakistani girl thinks about India, then I think this podcast is enough. Like, uh, आई बिलीव कि हम बचपन में हमें पढ़ाया जाता है कोई चीज़ कि ये एक चीज़ गलत है आपके लिए, और फिर जब हम बड़े होते हैं कि हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है कि हम उन चीज़ को अनलर्न करें, उन बिहेवियर्स को
ट्रू,
अनलर्न करें। तो अब
ट्रू।
एक बंदा जिसके पास इंटरनेट कनेक्शन है, वो अगर ही इज इंटेलिजेंट, उसको समझ आ जाएगी क्या चीज़ गलत और सही है, तो even I know when something's wrong is wrong, when something right is right. So my message to every Indian person watching me is like, I would love to come to your country, and I know you guys will
You are,
welcome me with open arms. It's
of
a dream to
course.
come and visit, Rajasthan even. So don't worry, like
Yeah.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है what you see on media. Go watch the content, you'll understand what Pakistan is. Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you for giving your time, and you are most welcome in India as such, and in Rajasthan to be specific. If you have my number, so you ever plan to travel to this part of the
For sure.
country, do ping me, and I'll be more than happy to help you, host you in whichever way possible. It'll be a pleasure. I have met a few Pakistanis, like not obviously during my time in Dubai and other parts of the world, and I have always found them to be very, very friendly and hospitable. Honestly, अगर डिटेल में बात नहीं हो तो एक दो दिन तो पता भी ना चले कि वो पाकिस्तानी है, मतलब आई कैन दे कैन पास ऑफ एज इंडियंस, मतलब पता भी ना
Exactly.
चले कि वी आर फ्रॉम डिफरेंट कंट्रीज, इट्स ओनली, तो that is precisely what binds us here. We end of the day have same ancestry, in the sense ki we share the same culture, we were one country at one point in time. तो अब इससे ज्यादा कॉमन क्या ही हो सकता है? Yes, we do have our political differences, but then culturally we are as close as two countries can ever be. I don't think
Yes.
there are any other two countries in the world which could have this kind of similarities in terms of language, food, dressing sense, looks, even. So I mean, we are just same. So I do hope that at least जो भी इस podcast को देख रहा है, they somehow it helps them get a better perspective of
I
Pakistan.
hope so too.
And if somebody is watching it in Pakistan, maybe they hopefully get a better perspective of what an average Indian thinks of Pakistan. And we
Yes.
certainly don't think ill of you. So that's all, yeah. And hope we succeed in this goal of ours. Thank you very
Yes.
much for your
No
time.
harm at
And
all.
thank you.
For
It was a
having
pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much.